Hello, my name is Emudiaga Rukevwe Ericson, and on this project, I'm excited to share with you my report from analyzing the data from the project on NYC, New York City taxi. So the data was presented by Quantum Analytics NG, and the goal of this project was to evaluate and determine the days of the week where the highest demand for the New York taxi is experienced, to also to evaluate which zone are most frequently requested for pickup and drop-offs, time of the day, and all that. So let's dive right into it. The data was wrangled using Power Query, and thereafter the insights were generated and visualized using the Power BI desktop. So from the report, we found that it is obvious that the average fare per trip is about $12.96. So that implies that per every trip that the taxi is used for, we expect that the customer will pay about $12.96 per trip. And on that note, we also evaluated the findings that shows that on an average, every distance per trip that we expect is about 3.11 miles, which shows that if, for example, we have a customer requesting the services of the taxi and they're going for a trip, we expect that this trip would go as far as would go to an expected distance of about 3 miles. It can be less, it can be plus minus, but this is an expected distance per trip, and the fare for such trip is expected to be about $12.96, and weekly we expect that the number of trips that will be recorded by the New York City taxi will be about 39,000 trips. And on this note, if they experience about 39,000 trips, we expect that the New York taxi will generate about $510,000 as a weekly revenue. Then we expect that the rate of change of this trip volume for every week is about 0.55, which means that it can increase or decrease. The rate of trips expected weekly can increase or decrease with about 0.55%, which is less than 1%. Then per every trip that the taxi goes for, we expect that not less than one passenger is expected to be on the trip. Now, upon evaluating which day of the week people frequently use the services of the New York City taxi, the result shows that Fridays, Saturdays, and Thursdays happens to be the day with highest demand for this taxi, and on Sunday having the lowest frequency of demand. And on evaluating the trips for the monthly or evaluating the trips by month, it was found that February, March, and April has the highest period of demand for the services of this taxi, while November, December, and January having the least of its demand. Then also evaluating the time of the day where this taxi is frequently demanded, the result shows that most of these taxis, most of the services of the taxi are mostly demanded they are mostly demanded at night and in the morning, while the lesser portion of the demand is attributed to evening or night. Also, it was found that most of the pickup and drop-off locations are within the Boro Zone. So in a summary of our findings, it was shown that most of the passengers usually travel up to 3 miles, and they are expected to pay about $12.96 as the average fare per trip. And on a weekly basis, we expect about 39,000 trips to generate the New York City taxi about 510,000 US dollars. And most of these trips are experienced on Fridays, Saturdays, and Thursdays. And during the months of February, March, and April, especially in the morning and afternoon, and the drop-off locations or pickup locations are mainly within the Boro Zone. So thank you very much for listening.